Dear learners, I welcome you all in our today's offline video lecture of class 12th information practices, and our today's topic will be DBMS. Today we will be do the review of the chapter DBMS. This topic is presented to you by Ankur Pandita, teacher BHSS Drugmulla. Now we will start with the few points to note. We have already completed this chapter, and in this video we will be having a review of this chapter. So first of all, we will start with some points to note. First, constraints are the set of rules that define the conditions under which that data is valid. So constraints are the set of rules that define the conditions under which that data is valid. Constraints are not null is a constraint, unique key is a constraint, primary key is a constraint, and foreign key is a constraint. We can specify constraints in two ways: column level constraints or table level constraints. The column becomes mandatory if it is defined as not null. So a column becomes mandatory in a data if it is defined as a not null. The unique constraint enforces the uniqueness of values in a column. The unique constraint, by enforcing unique constraint, we enforce the uniqueness of values. That means in the column there cannot be same type of data in different rows. A primary key uniquely identifies each row in a table. A primary key is a unique key which identifies each row in a table. A single column primary key is called a simple key, and a multi-column primary key is called a composite key. We can have several unique constants but only one primary key constant in a table. Foreign key is used to represent the relation between the tables. The check constraint is used to check the validation of values in a table. The unknown values do not violate a check constraint conditions. We can remove integrity constraint if we do not need it. The disable clause is used to disable a constraint already applied. The enable clause is used to enable a constraint which has been disabled. So these are some points which you have to know in DBMS to manage database efficiently. Now there are some questions based on new examination patterns which you all should know. First is, what do you understand by constraints? Again, constraints are set of rules that define the conditions under which that data is valid. Second is, name some types of constraints used in Oracle. Constraints used in Oracle include not null, unique key, primary key, and foreign key. Third is, what is the difference between column level constraints and table level constraints? Students, I repeat. Third question is, what is the difference between column level constants and table level constants? If table data constants are defined along with the column definition when creating or modifying a table structure, they are known as column level constants. If data constants are defined after defining all the table columns when created or altering a table structure, it is known as table level constants. What is the role of not null constants? Question number 4. If a column is defined as not null, then that column cannot be left blank. The column becomes mandatory. Fifth question is, what is the function of unique constraint applied on a column in a table? The unique constraint defined on a column ensures that the values entered in that column cannot be repeated. Sixth question is, what is a primary key? A primary key uniquely identifies each row in a table. It can be single column or a combination of columns. What are the properties of primary key? Primary key has two special properties. All the values in the primary key column are mandatory. None of the values can be left blank, which means the not null attribute is active. The values in the primary key column must be unique. Eighth question is, what is the difference between a super key and a composite key? A single super key primary constant is called a simple key, and a multi-column primary key is known as composite key. What is an integrity constraint? An integrity constraint is a declarative way to define a business rule for a column of a table. Define the different types of integrity constants supported by Oracle. The different types of integrity are not null, unique key constraints, primary key, foreign key, and check constraints. What is the difference between unique constants and primary key? A column defined as unique can obtain null, while as column defined as primary key cannot contain null. 13th question is what describe the referential integrity? A rule defined on a column in one table that allows insert or update of a row only if the value of the column or a set of the column matches the value in a column of a related table. It also specifies the type of data manipulation allowed on referenced data and the action to be performed on dependent data as a result of any action on referenced data. Question number 14. What are the referential actions supported by foreign key integrity constant? Update and delete restrict a referential integrity value that allows updation or deletion of referenced data. Students, this is it for today's topic of important question of data meshes related to a new examination pattern. Students, let us revise these questions till we come with more and more topics related to your syllabus. Students, thank you. Stay at home. Stay safe. Thank you.